How's it going, YouTube? We are back and we're doing something that we haven't done in a long time. That is updates on signings and trades across sports. Before we get started, I have to ask you guys to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. We're 3 away from 110 subs, which is pretty nice for me. We're going to start in the NFL. We have Jacksonville signing their rookie running back Travis Etienne to a 4-year, $12.89 million deal. A lot of people were surprised that they decided to take this running back because of the fact that James Robinson had such a good year. But they keep Trevor Lawrence with a running back that he's familiar with. Make it easier for him to adjust an offensive system like that. Nothing against James Robinson. Obviously, he's a great back. But you can never go wrong with having a two-back set. 2 different running backs, whether Etienne is a third down back or Robinson is the third down back, whether they're splitting drives or whatever the deal is. $4 million is a pretty decent amount for a rookie running back, especially. And running backs don't tend to have that long of a shelf life, but if he has some good success, I think $4 million will be a fair price for 4 years. Staying in the NFL, we have Melvin Ingram signing a 1-year, $4 million deal. I think this is a very underrated signing because Melvin Ingram is still a good linebacker, and I think that the Steelers already have a really, really solid defense. So you put him on the other side of TJ, and you have him take, he's going to get less blocking coverages because of the fact that TJ's on one side, he'll be on the other. There'll be much less, watch over him, and he could really run amok on the running backs and the quarterback, putting pressure on that offense and the offensive line as well. I think that's a really underrated signing for a team that already had a really stacked defense. So props to Pittsburgh for getting that job done. And then the Jets signed Elijah Vera Tucker, a guard, offensive guard, I believe, to a 4-year, $15.88 million deal. I don't know too much about him, but that seems like a pretty good payday for a guard, and I believe he's pretty young as well, so they have faith in him. Obviously, they want to protect Zach Wilson, and keeping your guys together is a good way to do it because, you start to learn your teammates' tendencies, their weaknesses, their strengths, and if you keep that O-line together, you can really do a better job of gaining chemistry and learning how to protect your quarterback the right way. Wilson looks like he could be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. We have a lot of time to wait and see how that goes for them. But signing a young lineman to an extension and trying to keep it together is part of the way to success. To the NHL, Seattle has officially become a hockey team. The Seattle Kraken have now had the expansion draft. They had the entry draft for the NHL. They are officially a hockey team, and one of their first moves was to sign Jamie Alexiak to a 5-year, $23 million extension. He's more of a defensive defenseman. They're loading up on defensive defensemen. Try to keep the puck out of the net, which is never a bad idea. 5 years, $23 million seems like a little bit of, 5 years seems a little bit too long for Alexiak in my opinion, but the $4 million plus seems right around where it should be for him. I think they're just trying to have security on that blue line, make sure they have people to protect their goaltender, stuff like that, protect their young stars, their draft picks, I believe they had the 2nd overall pick, so they protect the young guys and stuff like that. Having big defensemen that'll grind other teams' small guys down because the NHL has gotten real small and fast. To be able to grind those guys down so they're a little bit more tired in the third period is still a viable strategy in the NHL. So I think it's a pretty good signing. And then back to the NFL, the 49ers signed outside linebacker Fred Warner to a 5-year, $95.225 million deal. Fred Warner, if you guys don't know, is one of the best linebackers in the league right now. He really is dynamic. So getting him signed long-term was a must for the 49ers to ensure that their defense, barring it is a little bit healthier next season, returns to its top form. He really is a great linebacker, and I think he's still probably a little bit underrated. I think he flies a little bit under the radar sometimes, but he definitely is a special talent to say that. That 49ers defense is going to be good again. I believe it will be. They just need to get healthy again, and I think they could really be a force to be reckoned with in that West, barring that they are healthy. Back to the NHL and back to Seattle. Adam Larson signs a 4-year, $16 million deal. Another defensive defenseman to protect and keep the puck out of the net, penalty killers, all those things, as well as they signed Chris Jieger to a 3-year, $10.5 million deal. I think Chris Jieger as one of the goalies that flies a little bit under the radar, barring that he was a backup for Florida. But he really is a talented backup. He was a talented backup, and now he's going to get an opportunity to start in Seattle. And I think that they made the right decision selecting him in the expansion draft. You know, Florida was always going to protect Bobrovsky. They were never going to let Bobrovsky go, even though I don't think Seattle would have taken that $10 million. But you get Driedger, and I think that's a very, very nice, solid goaltender to start to build around. He's not that old. I believe he's in his mid-20s. I'm not too sure about that. But you have a young roster with a bunch of defensive defensemen and some young offensive talent, and you got yourself a nice team. They might, I don't think they're as talented as what Vegas was when they came in, but they got some good players on that team. They build some chemistry. They play fast. They play gritty on the defense, and on the penalty kill, and they might be a team to watch out for. Arizona, they make a big trade right here, getting Shane Gostisbehere, or Ghost. A 2022 second and a 2022 seventh for future consideration. So whatever those future considerations are, it better be good, because I think Ghost is a little bit, he's taking a little bit more flack than I think he should. Obviously, he has not played as well as he did when he came into the league, but he's still a very, very serviceable offensive defenseman. I think he can still get the job done, especially on that power play. He moves the puck really well. Should he tighten it up a little bit on the defensive side? Of course, but I think that he still is an extremely good talent. Philly wanted to get that cap hit off of their team, so they pretty much gave him away for right now nothing. But I still think that Ghost is a good player on really any team, and I think Arizona is trying to find a way to get themselves into the playoffs maybe. And I think that's a good way to go. Is you load up with one of the better offensive defensemen in the league, and put them on that power play with the young forwards that they have. Still in the NHL, Carolina gets their hands on Jonathan Bernier in a 2021 third in exchange for Alex Nedeljkovic, who then signed a $2 million or 2-year, $6 million extension with Detroit. Goalie for goalie, Nedeljkovic is not going to be a starter in Carolina, so they move him to where he has greener pastures in Detroit, where he will start in exchange for Detroit starter, who was Bernier, who would play more of a backup role on any other team, which is what he will do in Carolina. And they also get a third out of it. So I think it's a good trade for both sides. You get a young goalie in Detroit with some potential, and in Carolina gets the backup and a pick out of it. I think it's a very, very even trade there. I think that Nedeljkovic could be a talented goalie in this league. I think he just needs some time. Detroit has a lot of young talent on their team, a lot of top prospects. I think they just need more time, and I think you give them a talented young goalie to go along with their talented young forward core and their talented young defensive core, and 3-4 years we might be talking about them being a top team pretty soon. And then the last transaction that we have on the board, I'm going to be doing a lot more of these because the MLB trade deadline is coming up, and there's been a lot of noise in the NHL as well. But Tampa Bay gets their hands on Nelson Cruz as well as Calvin Faucher in exchange for Joe Ryan and Drew Stroman. So Minnesota gets two young arms. Tampa gets the DH, 41-year-old Nelson Cruz, the ageless wonder who just hits tanks after tanks, no matter how old he is, as well as the young arm and Calvin Faucher as well. This is a very good trade for Tampa. Last year, one of their biggest problems was offense. They did make it to the World Series, which I thought was utterly surprising in my opinion. I was sure Houston was going to go back. But they won it with pitching. They got there with pitching. Glasnow, Morton, Snell, all of those guys. Now they're missing all three of those guys. Glasnow being injured, Snell being in San Diego, not playing well, but being in San Diego, and Morton being in Atlanta, I believe. So, you still have other guys. You still have, what's his name? I know Brett Honeywell was up, but I don't think he's still in the MLB right now. Shane McClanahan, you have the young arms and stuff, but I feel like they need to touch up the pitching staff a little bit, considering that Glasnow, their ace, has been hurt. He suffered a pretty serious injury in his arm, his elbow. So I still think they need to get some pitching, but adding to their offensive power, which is what they did need to do, was a good step in the right direction toward them going toward the deadline. But that's going to do it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, comment other transactions or other videos you'd like to see done in the future. If you guys would like to make a donation to the channel, No Hit Media on Cash App, and I will see you guys next time.